Hello, everybody, and welcome to the another special episode of At the Picnics. And Danny, we're very, very lucky. We had Craig Williams the other night, and we're not worthy again. We have the wonderful, wonderful Campbell Rawiller. Thank you so much for joining us, Campbell.
No, thank you for having me on board. I was been looking forward to this chat, so it's great to be here.
I'm glad someone likes the show, Danny. We always worry about that. Now,
That's it.
there's quite a lot we're going to talk about. For such a young fella, you've already achieved quite a lot in your life, Campbell. Now, we'll start with this one, and I did not know this, and you were actually a decent footballer, and you were training at the Sydney Swans Academy. Please tell us all about that.
Yeah, sort of from a young age. I used to tuck the footy into bed next to me when I was 3-4 years old, and that's a fact. I was very, very passionate about my AFL, and from a young age, sort of growing up in Melbourne, it was massive at school, and yeah, every morning and lunchtime we'd play markers up, and I'd be trying to take speckies and just loved it. So that was sort of a lot of my childhood, along with going to the races after every game on a Saturday. And yeah, had a good bit of success in my AFL sort of days. Obviously, I was still young, so it was nothing. It was nothing more than a bit of fun up until I was sort of 10 and 11, and then got into the Swans Academy, where things got a little bit more sort of still very at a young age, but a little bit more sort of a professional look into what sort of training the Swans were doing, things like that. And yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. So I learned a lot, and was lucky enough to play sort of club footy with some real guns like Errol Gordon, who's killing it with the Sydney Swans now. So yeah, once again, I was very fortunate with a lovely team, and absolutely loved my footy growing up. Good, and still do.
Now, just on that, Goulden got 41 votes in a game and got 1 vote. So if you can explain to me why he didn't get 3. Now, who do you actually, does that mean you're a Sydney Swans follower?
No, diehard Richmond.
Oh, another one.
Definitely.
Campbell, you're a legend.
Wait, my God.
Oh,
look,
I'm never going to live this down.
I didn't have much choice to it, so it was a tough gig being a Richmond fan for about 13 years, but it got pretty good.
Look at my head. Look what they did to me. And so does that mean your dad's a Tiger man?
Yeah, I had my cards forced pretty early. I think that was the first bit of clothing I was given as a kid when I was born, was a Richmond jersey.
So love it.
Yeah, once again, it was pretty tough growing up being a Richmond fan. But like I said, the few premierships that come around, that was pretty exciting.
I was lucky to see one in 17. I thought that'll do me, and lucky enough to see another 2, mate. So good on you, mate. Now you battled with your weight, for people that don't know, and you decided to take a bit of time out in the saddle, and you became a greyhound trainer, and you had a bit of success there as well, mate. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, look, I sort of obviously had my weight struggles. I've probably just come to a stage where I need to do something a little bit different as well. I just nothing that I wasn't enjoying my riding. I've always loved riding the whole way through, whether it was sort of battling hard my weight or not. But I did just want to sort of take a step back, and I was probably at a stage where I just slowed down quite a bit in my riding as well. I lost my provincial claim, and just sort of through the winter months, just once again really slowed down. And the greyhounds for me was really, really good timing. It was sort of, I moved into a house by myself, and actually just loved having them as pets, and it was such a bonus to have them as racing greyhounds, and as well for me sort of being a part of my life as pets, and that sort of something I really wanted was to be able to sort of have a goal for them, to be picking out races and the work that was necessary to get them there, and nutrition. There was a lot that went towards it, and that sort of really took me away from struggling with my riding. Obviously, I was still doing the same amount of track work and jump outs and everything. I had kept up the work in racing, but at the same time, I was still able to very comfortably fit in training sort of 2 dogs at the time, which sort of forcefully he was not necessarily trained out the backyard, but sort of lived in the backyard basically. And he was my first winner at the Meadows, and like the facilities are unreal for the ground racing. They've got sort of Cranbourne, the slipping track, which is like a 300 or 400 meter straight run where the dogs sort of run up and down, and I'd take them there sort of every second day or so when I could, and obviously hand walking them in between then, so it kept me fit and busy and pretty occupied, so I wasn't sitting on the couch thinking about food and not riding.
That Cranbourne slip track, every now and again, probably a couple of times a week, you'll see me down there with my retired boys. So it's funny you say that they're pets, because I'm an ex-greyhound Racing Victoria steward, and we used to sometimes go around and do what they call kennel inspections, random ones. I don't know whether you had one. And quite often you'd knock on the door and the trainer will say, "Oh yeah, come on in. I actually don't have kennels. So that one on the couch there is blah, blah. That one on the couch is blah, blah." A lot of them, the smaller trainers, they are their pets. It's amazing how they get spoiled.
Yeah, it is. And that's right. I don't think a lot of people see that side of ground racing. You know, you see them at the racetrack and whatnot, but you really don't see a lot of the behind the scenes, which like you said, for a lot of the smaller trainers, when they're training out their house and stuff, that's what it is. Like I remember Miss Manager, she was sort of my second racing dog. She was beautiful. And yeah, she'd sleep at the end of my bed at night. Like she had the life. Really.
I love it, mate. You're a legend.
Yeah,
I love it.
I remember one day I had 2 rides at Ballarat, and I had her in a 390 meter trial at Ballarat, sort of an hour and a half before my race. So I went up there the night before with her, trialled her, and then had friends in Ballarat who were happy to look after her once I went and rode my 2 races. So yeah, it was quite fun when it was like that. And then I sort of took it to another level once I come back from Adelaide, so this time last year, and I ended up with about sort of 25 dogs at the farm. I purchased a farm, and that had sort of around 40 kennels in it. So nice. It's something I definitely love to continue doing in the future. But like as of now and looking forward to the next few years, my main priorities sort of definitely sort of trying to do my best with the flat and continuing the jumps for as long as possible. I'm really passionate with the jumps, which are 6 months of the year, and I'd love to be able to sort of do something what Steve Pateman's done, but that's one step at a time, and each season to come. So very excited for next season, that's for sure.
You've certainly kicked off your first season pretty well. You've had a couple of winners at the Bull on your first carnival, and then Dad comes through and you guys get chicken soup for the week, we hear.
I read that article before. Mum looked after you.
Oh God, yeah. No, yeah, it was special. Like I probably coming into my first race meeting, I was so excited just the weeks leading into it, and I had sort of a couple rides for Stephen Pateman because I'd done a lot of work with him and Jess. They'd taught me so much leading up to my first race ride and onwards from there. But they were sort of wanting to give me a really good experience on one of the older jumpers, and the horse wasn't able to run sort of on the day with the week leading in. So I ended up with no rides for the Pakenham meeting, and at about like 1 o'clock or 11:30 or so when the fields had already came out, Eric Musgrove rang me about riding a horse in one of the maiden races, which was probably in a sense not ideal because I was having my first jumps ride as well. It was probably just better being amongst horses that had experience and being on a horse that had also had some experience in the race, in jumps races, which Circle of the Sun hadn't, and yeah, so to sort of, I had about an hour conversation with Mr. Eric Musgrove and sort of explained. I said, look, I'm not trying to say that I'm not, like, I just didn't want to sort of tell him that I'll be right because I needed a horse that was going to sort of jump for me more than I was going to do for it. Like I was sort of just hoping to be a passenger and just have a good experience. And obviously the younger horses having their first start, you need to ride them over the jumps a bit more. But he was adamant that he wouldn't put me on the horse if he didn't think it was going to be a good match for me. And sort of one thing led to another, and ended up winning at 40-1. And 2 starts later on the Australian hurdle. So it's amazing how things work out. But it was, a dream start, and I was fortunate once again to have them opportunities and to have a bit of success early.
Well done. I've just got one more question for you, Campbell, and Danny's probably got quite a few. You come from a racing family, so your grandfather was a jumps jockey, I believe. Yep. Of course, your dad Nash is already a champion jockey. Your mum Sarah worked in Mornington at a racing stable, and of course you got your uncle Brad, who's also a very successful jockey. Did you feel, as a kid growing up, did you feel, or was there any pressure put on you to be a rider, or was that just purely your choice?
I had 2 jockeys bringing me up. Actually, Mum had a ride, about a dozen rides or so as well, when she done an apprenticeship. So okay. Definitely around the jockeys, that's for sure. No, definitely probably the opposite of pressure, really. More so, I think probably correct. Stay away. Like more so, I think for how tough Dad's done it over so many years, I think that was definitely not something Mum and Dad sort of wanted me to be put through. Number one, with the weight and things, and number two, it's obviously it's not sort of sport you can just walk into and just say, oh, yeah, I'll give it a crack and see what happens, because it's just too split second. It's too I don't want to say high risk, because I think the standards of the sport are huge, but things can happen, and you got to be on the ball. And for probably parents, I know if I was a parent, I wouldn't want my son or daughter being in races, that's for sure. But once, I think Mum and Dad, one thing I really do appreciate is once they've probably seen that I was passionate and not just doing it because, I thought it was cool watching Dad win Group 1s on the weekend. It was never that. It was more, I love riding horses and loved being a part of the industry. Once they sort of seen that, they were full steam ahead supporting me and wanted me to sort of do the best I could. And I think that's one thing Mum and Dad have always wanted for me, is it doesn't matter what I'm doing, as long as I'm happy and enjoying what I'm doing, that's their main sort of priority as parents. So I do really appreciate the support they've given me throughout my riding career so far. That's 100% sure, and especially off the track too, because there's a lot of down moments when you have bad runs and things, and you really realise the people around you at them sort of moments. So that obviously, being parents, they've never left my side, but they're definitely, as you would hope they wouldn't, but they're definitely their full support. It's just been unbelievable throughout my whole life.
Mum and Dad are going to be probably watching this, mate, if you want to pass it on to them. So I'm glad you said that. Sorry, I've just got one more very quick question. You're a good-looking rooster, Campbell. Now, is there a lady in your life?
No.
Oh, hello, ladies.
I wouldn't know about a good-looking rooster, that's for sure. I'm sort of.
Mate, be a few ladies watching this. If you want to contact us, we can pass on your number to Campbell.
Oh no! I think you're doing him a favour not sending him your number. I've just keep busy at work. I'm better off. I'm not the sharpest tool in the tool shed when it comes to being a talker. So I think I'm better.
Doing all right now, mate.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Cam, where are you based at the moment?
So I sort of went up to Sydney through August. I left Victoria to go up to Sydney just for. I didn't really put a time frame on it, but sort of about 6 or 7 weeks is what I thought. Just sort of work on my weight. I was sort of 65.5 through July, August, and I sort of really just wanted to. I don't want to sort of. I really want to be right on the flat, put it that way, and I just want to give myself every opportunity to be able to get to the weight do, and I felt being with Dad would be the best option, which it has been. And I've ended up just coming back to Melbourne sort of from Wednesday last week. I drove back and a few kilos lighter, and and yeah, started sort of full time with Brian McGrath and in Pakenham, he's someone I really look up to as a trainer and a person. You wouldn't get I'm sure you could tell anyone that's been at Cranbourne. There's no one that's more upbeat and up and about.
Grouse bloke, great stable, lovely bunch of people.
Absolutely. I've been fortunate my whole career to be around that sort of atmosphere of people being really up and about. As you'd know, it's early starts and cold weather and things. It can bring out the worst in people, but I love people like Brian that just consistently love their job every day and just make everyone around them smile, and I really enjoy that at Pakenham. It's an hour from Mornington where I am now. I moved back to where the farm is next week, which is a little bit closer, but and the drive's very easy going to a workplace like that. It's a great bunch, and he's got some really nice horses coming through. So yeah, it's great to be a part of the team.
Makes it easy getting out of work in an environment like that. So are you going to get any more dogs back into work?
I can't make promises. I sort of it's a tough one because, well, we'll put it this way: I'll already have 4 without. I'll sort of have one in work because I've got 2 that I own. As far as still racing dogs, they're not retired. So, and I've got 2 pets as well. So I'll have 4 dogs there without even saying that I will be training. But I'll be training one of them, Nash for Cash. He's he's been a little bit difficult. He's fast, but he's not genuine. So he's kind of a bit of a head scratcher. So I'll have him there, and hopefully he can get back on track, literally. And the problem is with the training dogs is it's like whether you have 2 or 25, it's like horses. It's kind of like you can't, like, say if I've got trials at Warrnambool, say when the jumps are back and things like that, it's very difficult to just go ride trials at Warrnambool and then come home and it'll be 2 in the afternoon. Then like someone's sort of got to be there with the dogs, so it is quite tough to get away. So that's my only concern, sort of, while I don't have anyone that's sort of able to help me out that way, just sort of jump into training a heap of dogs, because I know what'll happen. It sort of happened last time. I had 25 there, and trying to ride track work and do things like that, it just ended up a little bit too much by the end of it. So I'll just be smart, but it is something I really, really do get a massive buzz out of, and I would love to do it again, that's for sure.
So take us through your first jump season, some of the highs and some of the lows. Obviously, you've been at both ends of the spectrum, even in very close succession.
Yeah, sort of obviously kicked off unbelievably. And that was actually my first 5 winners was 2 horses, Circle of the Sun and then TFLO Star came along. So definitely I knew things can change very quickly. So I was never sort of let myself get too sort of high above when I was riding the winners in my first few meetings. I think my first sort of 10 rides, I had like three winners, and I was so not trying to get to cloud 9, because I know obviously jumps racing it can turn very quickly, which sort of I've had a fairly good run this season. I've had a couple of falls, which was more so my fault, if anything. Like I was on good jumpers and just hit a couple long, which I just went straight over the handlebars. Little things like that, having a spill and bouncing back off it. I learnt quite a lot this season. I think I really, although I was riding more winners in the early part of the season, I didn't really have much joy sort of later on, my sort of last 5 jumps meetings. But I felt like I actually learnt a lot more in them meetings than I did riding horse that was just jumping well and quick on the flat. So look, for me there wasn't really any lows, because every race meeting I walked out of and unscathed, and was very fortunate to join up with some great owners, trainers, and horses, most importantly. So I'm really, really looking forward to next season. And once again, I just felt like the penny probably dropped halfway through the season, albeit I wasn't riding winners. I sort of got the gist of how to ride the jumps a little bit better, and especially sort of the riders around you. You learn a lot off them, riding with them consistently. So, yeah.
So what about your apprenticeship? What are some of the highs and lows of your apprenticeship? You had a fair few rides on the flat and outrode your country claim. Didn't quite get your metro out but you've had a pretty successful stint riding here Sydney and Adelaide.
Yes. Look, I couldn't change my apprenticeship. I was a little bit stung, sort of, probably from when I come back from Sydney. That was when my weight really got heavy. I sort of went up to Sydney sort of around 58 and was riding 54 up there, and that kind of, off the back of Sydney, went straight into winter and just never really got it back to under 56 after that. So that was quite tough, because that was where things slowed up for me. And look, that's the way it goes sometimes. Sort of when you go away from Victoria and then you come back without a claim and things like that, you lose your place a little bit, and I really had to sort of work to build that back up again. And from the end of the year, I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity with Ryan Belfer. He said, "I'd love you to come to Adelaide and have a go with me." He's sort of friends with well, actually, Dad rode his first Group 1 winner for Ryan Belfer's father, so yeah, there's a little bit of history there, and we had really good success over in Adelaide, and that was really good for me, because it just sort of gave me a new lease of life at a stage I probably needed someone to put me under their wing a little bit, like Ryan at a different jurisdiction. So it was a little bit of a fresh blood moment, and kicked off quite well in Adelaide, and done my 6 months there, and just by the end of it, I just was getting up to 65, trying to ride 59, and was just doing no one justice, sort of riding once a week. I just wasn't managing my weight as well as I needed to be to ride well, and that was sort of the end of that. And I've been very fortunate with my master throughout my apprenticeship, Logan. I sort of went to him when I was would have been just before I turned 16, and I could always ride like equestrian sort of ponies and stuff that were very push button. That was my education, sort of a year and a half leading into Logan's. I hadn't really sat on a racehorse, but done a bit of cross country and a lot of show jumping and things. And from when I went to Logan's, I think my first 2 rides I done, I think, combination of 8 laps instead of going one each. So he had his work cut out for him a long time. I think I was in the arena trotting around racehorses for a while after that. But that grounding was unbelievable. And I think the best thing Logs did for me was have me riding young horses all the time that were putting me in the deep end, but not to the point of making me lose confidence. Probably just a lot of riding in the saddle, pushing them forward. And that sort of, I feel, helped my riding style for races, because it's taught me to just be a bit more behind the horse instead of sort of, you see a lot these days, being quite forward. So like race day, I'll ride full foot and ride that little bit longer. And I just feel it's sort of, you're able to get behind the horse and really push him forward. And that was something Logan drilled into me from day one. And look, he is very patient with me. I don't think I would have been able to get to the races as early or kicked off as swiftly without his support. That's for sure. He's been a huge help.
So if we need some entertaining stories, we get Logan on here to tell us about when you first started.
Oh, it won't be when I first started. It'll be coming up to now. There'll be plenty there, that's for sure. I remember one day, when it might have been my first 2 weeks there, I was somewhere around there, and I was wheeling around a wheelbarrow, and it was I said, "Oh, Logan, there's something wrong with the wheelbarrow. Every time I wheel it around, it makes this ticking noise, like tick, tick, tick." And he goes, "Yeah, that's the problem. It's supposed to go tick, 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 tick. You're not working fast enough." So,
I love it.
So I learned pretty quickly to be on the job.
We've just got a couple of minutes left, Danny, if you want to shoot off some quick ones.
All right. What's your favourite race so far? What have you won that you're really, really proud of?
Definitely the Australian hurdle. That was really special that day. I can't. Just unbelievable. Very
there was
lucky.
lots of people cheering for you on their couches at home as well. It was a very popular win for yourself, I think.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely the Australian hurdle, and probably my first jumps winner. Oh, once again, just a real new lease of life. Like, I think, like, I'm very, once I like something, I never lose that love. And when I love the jumps, I never schooled horses, but I always done show jumping. And from the day I schooled a horse at pavements, I was like, oh, what have I been doing? Like, I just love this, and I've forgotten
What have
about
I
it. And
missed?
exactly, it just brought back so much of my childhood that I love so much. And yeah, it was just special. It really, really hit pretty hard winning that race. It was very, very special, and I'd love to be able to hopefully do something similar next season. That's for sure.
So what's the one race that you want to win?
I haven't ridden in the annual.
Yep.
The national is incredible. I think I like the national for the fact that it's later on in the season, and it's once again, I haven't ridden in the annual, so I can't say different testing material, but I can say, like, the lead up into the national, watching Brungle Birdie hit the line the start before, and I just think, like, it takes a tough horse, and it's a brute of a horse, that Brungle Birdie, and to ride in a race of that sort of caliber, it's a lot of the horse, and it's very special. I think it's really, that would be the race I'd love to win as a Grand National. But I definitely I rode police camp leading into the Grand Annual this year, and he was superb in the Briley, and I'm honestly, any opportunity in either two of them races, that would be a dream come true. That's for sure. I love the flat. Don't get me wrong, but the jumps, there's a different amount of hype about it, because it's not just, I hope my horse turns up today and we get our chances. There's 16 hurdles to get past before, there's a lot to it. And you got to be on the back of the right horse that's going to take you into the race. And obviously, like the flat once again, but there's just a whole different level of hype. And yeah, I think people are getting behind the jumps more than ever. Once again, now I probably see that the
last 5 years it's really changed.
Yeah, it has changed, and I think when you got skin in the game and can see the progress it's made, a lot of people, you see them there, and that, no, jumps is cruel, or the flat's cruel. It's hard because they don't have skin in the game. They don't see the progress the sport's made, and for the amount of care taken into every race meet and every track gallop and canter, it's so much further than I think people would ever imagine that don't understand the game. So once again, the jumps racing, I think it's definitely going to keep growing for that aspect. It has really taken massive steps forward, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. I think it deserves its spot in Victorian racing, and once again, it's just getting better and better.
All right, we're going to get timed out. We've got just over a minute. Just on that, maybe, Danny, they could put jumps racing into the picnics. You'd be going over the jumps, wouldn't you, Danny?
Mate, I've got to get back from shoulder surgery before I do anything else. I have schooled horses a couple of times, and I agree with you, Cam. It's unbelievable.
I'll be a picnic jumps jockey. I'll do it. Campbell, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Absolute pleasure. You're a superstar fella, mate. You've made your own name in the industry, mate. Even though you've come from a family of champs, mate, you're not far behind them. So good on you, Campbell. And maybe because of your weight, when you retire, mate, you could be a picnics jockey.
I think it's a bit of criteria there, I think. But look, I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than the picnic racing, that's for sure.
How good is it?
It's a delight to bout, and yeah, all the very best to everyone getting geared up for the season. It'll be great to follow.
Good on you, mate.
Come and have a beer with us after the races,
yes,
mate.
You are. You're coming to have a beer. All right. We appreciate you coming on, Campbell. Really means a lot to us all, mate. And good luck to you for the future, mate.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Good luck with the high weights in the Jericho, mate. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you, Campbell.
Thank you.
Bye.